What's up guys, and welcome to the 15th tutorial on my PHP backend. So in this tutorial I'm going to talk a little bit about namespaces. So the problem that we're having right now is that everything is kind of global. So what I mean by that is that we can instantiate, for example, a color controller from basically anywhere in the application. And when our application starts growing, this might become a problem later because you will end up in a situation where you have problem naming stuff. Because stuff will be named the same basically, and you want to create a new instance of something from one type and then you end up instantiating the wrong stuff. So the solution for this is namespaces. So what this enables us to do is to kind of group functionality together in namespaces so you don't accidentally instantiate the wrong kind of object. So the convention with this is that you call the namespace the same thing that you have corresponding to your folder structure. So in my case, it'll be app controllers and then color controller. So the only thing I have to do is that above my class, I type namespace, and then what I want to call the namespace. So I'll call mine app, and then a backward slash, which is important that it's not a forward slash, and then controllers, and then semicolon. So this is what I do for all my source code files. And this won't be called controllers, obviously, so it'll be data instead. And the other ones will be the same in this folder because they belong to the same namespace, like this. And as long as they're in the same namespace, it's not a problem with instantiating them. So for example, in the database interface, I create a new SQL repository, which is down here. But I don't have to import the namespace in this file because they're in the same namespace. So this one is in app data, and this one is also in app data, so that's not an issue. But if you want to instantiate something in here from the data folder, I need to tell PHP that I want to do it from that namespace. And this is actually the case down here, where I want to extend the database interface down here, which is from another namespace. So there's two ways of doing this. Either I can just type the fully qualified namespace, so app, data, and then database interface, like this. Or I can use the use keyword, and then I'll type it up here instead. And you can see that I get some suggestions here. App data and then database interface, like this. And then I don't have to have the full name here. And if we try to run this now it won't work, because you can say that, for example, it complains about it doesn't know what app data database interface is. And in order to fix this, we need to create a new autoload file. So you just type composer dump dash autoload, like this. So it'll create new autoload files. So when I run it again, I don't get anything. And the reason I don't get any data is that in our index file, we try to instantiate a new controller. But since we created a namespace for it, it doesn't know what it is. So let me just illustrate instead what the problem is. So if I type an else statement in here, and then I echo out something not found, and then run it again, you can see that I end up in the else statement in here. So what this means is that it tries to check if the class exists, the controller, and if we want to figure out what this is, so we type echo in here, and then I echo out the variable. This is the other echo statement, but it says that the name of the controller is color controller. So this is a namespace problem because I've created a namespace for it, so now it doesn't know what it is. And the solution for this is that I can either use a use keyword or I can use the fully qualified name. And I'm going to go with the fully qualified name in this case. So I'm going to create a variable for holding the full namespace. So it's app and then what controllers. And you can see I got to use a double backslash here because I need to escape it in the text string. So that's why I use two of them like this. And then I want to concatenate the variable name. So like in regular languages, we use plus here, but in PHP, if you use plus, it'll actually try to use addition for them. So if you want to use string concatenation, you have to use the dot sign. So let me just echo this out so you can see what it is. So this is the, let me just put a new line here so it's not confusing you. So this is the fully qualified name for the controller, and that's what we want to use instead. So we want to replace this in here. And of course, we want to use the variable down here also, like this. So let's see if it works. And now we're back to square one, but now we have created namespaces and encapsulated all the class instantiation into those namespaces. And a side effect of this implementation is also that you cannot instantiate other classes anymore the way we could before, because I'm hard coding at the controllers interface, and now you're only allowed to instantiate controllers from the API calls. So you can no longer create the database interface or like SQL repository or anything like that and call functions on it. And later we're going to have some other kind of implementation for dealing with security issues like this, for example, authorization and authentication also. But I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, and I see you in the next one.